Alright guys, so I know that this project is a little bit different than a lot of the stuff I've been doing lately. Where this is definitely not a piece of furniture. As you can see, we've got some furniture behind me that you guys may recognize there. But it's a pretty interesting one nonetheless. Now, I will admit that while I was recording some of the video here, I did end up breaking off the snap, so the little bit of epoxy that I had holding it on, that idea didn't work, so luckily I'm not relying on that for anything major in the future here, but yeah, that didn't work out. Anyway, so the whole point of this was just to try out this idea of stitching wood directly to leather and just seeing what would happen, whether it was possible, whether it was absolutely mind-numbingly painful to do. And the reality of it is it actually came out pretty good. I really do love this look. Now, one thing that I would do differently if I was to do this exact same thing over again is I would just make the walnut a little bit thinner. Go down, I think this is about 3/16 of an inch, take it down to about 1/8 of an inch or even, just under 1/8 of an inch. I wouldn't go down to like a 16th because I think that would be too thin and it would probably snap pretty easily. But yeah, 3/16 here is just a little bit too thick in my opinion, but overall it still looks pretty good. I could either, I could make it thinner or I could just add a heavier chamfer than I have on here. That might help blend it a little bit more, but yeah, it's just a little bit of a big step between the wood and the leather on here. Now, what I really found interesting during this little project here is the kind of my understanding of leather work. So some of the earlier stuff you guys may have seen on my channel, I made a sheath for my Leatherman and I made a couple notebook covers for my mom and my sister for Christmas a couple years ago now. And so those covers were made from oak veg tan leather, which if you guys know anything about leatherworking, is a very stiff, very hard, very tough leather. Whereas the stuff that I'm using here is oil tanned or chrome tanned leather. I think it's oil / chrome tanned leather, something like that. Which makes it a lot softer and a lot more flexible. So as you can see, I can open and close this thing. This feels a lot softer than that oak veg tan stuff that I used in the past. So that's something that I just never really understood about leather. Because when you go to Tandy Leather, they've got all this different stuff you can pick through. It's very confusing for someone like me that has no actual education in leatherworking. I just kind of started buying some and played around with it. And so I did learn something about leatherworking that I think will come into play later on in the future, because I do have a whole bunch of this leather left over from even the project that you guys are going to be seeing come out in a few weeks here. So yeah, it is going to be it is an interesting thing when you start learning about a different material. And leather is something that I would like to find a way to incorporate into my furniture somehow. Now, something like the pie cover that I got back there's not really a good way to incorporate leather. What I did want to do on that pie cover originally was make leather bottom covers for the drawers. Just because I thought that would be a little bit more interesting. But I realized that after I made the drawer bottoms so really beautiful out of all that maple, I decided against doing that. So yeah, I don't really know how to incorporate it in, but I want to figure it out in some way. Now, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you may have seen a machine that I recently purchased that may allow me to make some furniture that is might let me work a little bit more leather into it. So we'll see where I go from there. But yeah, I don't want to spoil anything too much or make any big promises because I don't quite know what I'm doing with that yet. But yeah, we'll have to see where it goes. But yeah, so leather is something that I definitely want to work into furniture somewhere. Another interesting thing that I really want to try working into furniture is this stitch joint, because I think that would be so cool. Just something that is just so ridiculously different. If you have like two panels now, I would probably go through and actually glue them up and make them a good, solid, strong panel. But if you just go through and put a stitch line through the side of a panel, that could look really, really interesting. So even though this is a really small project and not something that's like crazy, exciting, it has given me a few really cool ideas to use, both in, small products like this and even to bring into furniture pieces. So I'm definitely going to be bringing some of the ideas of this into some of my furniture and stuff that you guys are going to see coming out pretty quick here. But yeah, I'm really excited to just be able to show you guys this small project. And I really think you guys are going to like the project that's coming out that's based off of this idea, because it's a really cool one and I managed to do some pretty cool stuff in it. So, definitely look forward to that one. And as always, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.